Hey everybody, it's Dr. Rick Wallace dropping in on you. Hope everybody is having an unbelievable start to your week. Look, I am not going to be long. I'm trying to get to a point where I can unwind for the remainder of the day. I don't know how that's going to turn out because I still have some things on my mind that I think I want to do, but I'm definitely right now headed to do, you know what I do. I'm grab me a nice stick, smoke it, maybe get something to sip on, maybe not. But hey, what I want to do first and foremost is what I have to do, and that is remind you that we are in the midst of a fundraiser and we are asking for support. So if you believe in the work we do, go into the description box, click the link, or give through our Cash App. If you're not familiar with what I do, there's a link to our official website. You can check out what we have been doing for years. And again, show some love and support if you believe in what we do. All right. Hey, there's been a lot of talk about the whole Ime Udoka thing, and that's been a great deal of debate and discussion as to why there's so much press focused on him and his quote-unquote inappropriate relationship with a staffer and everything, and the alluding to how that impacts his relationship with Nia Long and all the other stuff we like to do with gossip and stuff like that. And I addressed all that over the series of several videos. I addressed the entire dynamic of the media system within a white racial caste system. I addressed the politics within an organization that is owned and ran by white people. I addressed the importance of black men to understand that when we are in the limelight, the shadows will always be cast on us. And I did all that. And people want to know about Brett Farve. I did one to address all the BS that is the trash called Brett Farve. But let's talk about something bigger. We talk about Brett Farve. We talk about Robert Sarver, the owner of the Phoenix Suns, who has run the organization through the scope of racism for almost 20 years and created a very hostile environment for people of color and women in that organization. And we talk about all that. And I'm not saying we shouldn't. We should have an understanding of what's going on. We should be aware of it. And there's nothing wrong with having debates and honest discussions about how we feel about stuff. I'm not one of those that I'm saying, hey, it is what it is, just suck it up. We just got to do. No, sometimes you got to talk about how you feel. You got to talk about what's going on. You have to try to make it make sense. Not that what they're doing makes sense, but you got to have an understanding of why it makes sense in the scope of how things work. No problem. Here's what I want to talk about. It's what has amazed me amongst my people is how we are ready to go all in on Brett Favre, all in on Rob Sarver, and even turn in on Ime Udoka, which we tend to do a lot, is turn in on ourselves. And again, I don't have a problem with holding our men accountable for living at a certain standard. Matter of fact, it's something that I've pushed for years. So again, but there's a way to hold a brother accountable without tearing him down and destroying him. And I think that's something we need to work on. But back to the point at hand, and I'm getting to it. I know some of y'all can't stand when I don't get right to the point. Oh well. How in the hell are we sitting up going hard in the paint on all of these small fish, relatively speaking, in the grand scope of things, and nobody's taking shots at Biden? Nobody is calling Biden to the mat. Nobody is calling him out on all the BS that he has done over the course of his political career that spans almost 50 years, if not. And everything from fighting busing for black students because they were, if they were to integrate it into white communities, it would create a jungle that he doesn't want his kids living in. That was in the 70s. And then the stuff that he did in cahoots with Republicans that were so racist, but he built strong allyship with them and so much more over the course of his career. Let's not forget the crime bill that literally decimated the black community. We still haven't recovered from that. He hasn't officially addressed it. Bill Clinton addressed it and said it was one of the worst things that happened during his administration. And that's the other thing we got to look at. We got to look at the fact that ever since the Voting Rights Act came down, we have increasingly come to the polls during each presidential cycle, with the exception of the year that Trump was elected. But every other year, every other presidential cycle, we increased our voter turnout, and we voted 90% consistently Democrat. And yet, if you trace some of the most hostile policies that were put in place, you can say that, okay, they happened under Democratic administrations, from social policies in the 60s that impacted the black family, to the deindustrialization of the inner city that decimated the black family and took jobs that ultimately increased poverty and alienated the black family, to the crime bill, to other education bills. It has been, hey, we getting it on both ends. I am not an advocate of, I'm not a Republican nor a Democrat. I'm a person that's realist, and I'm looking at what I'm getting. And they don't come to the table with anything. And here's the problem. What Trump did do that I paid attention to when he was elected is he proved that you don't have to pander for the black vote to win anything. And it's always been that way, but I don't think that it was understood until he was able to do it. So then it became, hey, Joe Biden did all kind of crap coming into the office, said if we don't vote for him, we're not black. How in the fuck you gonna sit up and define who I am? But we let him get away with that. We let him get away with a whole bunch of stuff. Everybody was all on Q because Q wanted to sit down with both of them, and the only one that was willing to sit down was Trump and talk about policies and plans that would advance the black community. Biden said, no, let's wait till after the election. We know what that is. After the election, I won't need you. And that's exactly what he did. He stood up and said he's going to focus on gay rights. He was going to focus on some other issues. He was going to focus on immigration and things like that. And we haven't gotten jack. 90% of the black vote goes Democrat, straight ticket, every time. We get nothing for it. You know why? Because they know that we're going to vote for them. We have not yet learned how to position ourselves. Now, the truth of the matter is 13% of, and we're not even total 13%, that's total population. Out of the voting percentage, whatever voting percentage we have, we know it's less than 13% because that's our total population. 14%, that's our total population. So let's just say 7% of us are eligible to vote. 7% out of the 14%. So half of all blacks in America are eligible to vote. 90% of that is going somewhere. Now, we still know that that's not going to do anything on a national level, but that definitely has an impact on local elections. It has impacts on who we are sending in as representatives, and we are going to have to do a better job of understanding that. But this dude is just walking around, and nobody, it's like he's Teflon. Nobody don't want to touch him because nobody wants to admit we got bamboozled yet again. We got took hook, line, and sinker. This dude has never done anything for blacks, and yet we stand at him. And everybody was pearls and chucks for that other chick, and she's done nothing but devastate black homes her whole political career. And now she's up there, and where's her voice for the disenfranchised black family? Where's her voice for the disenfranchised black man? Where's her voice for the disenfranchised black woman? Where is she speaking at and holding any torch for anything that matters to the black community? But we went all in. Oh man, we just had a ball. Symbolism. They get us with that symbolism bullshit every time. We've got to stop settling for symbolism and go for the real thing. We need real wealth. We don't need symbols of wealth. Do you realize that every year like clockwork, blacks purchase more Mercedes-Benzes than whites, and yet the wealth gap between whites and blacks is astronomical? The average millionaire drives a Toyota. But we're trying to prove our worth and our value by what we drive. I'm not telling you what to drive. I'm not telling you shouldn't have something nice. I'm not telling you, but you need to you need to have an understanding of what it takes to have it. You need to have an understanding of how you go about getting it, and how much of your disposable income should be spent on any one thing, and how much should be invested in long-term wealth building. All of these different things are what's going to control and dictate how much power you have to influence what happens in your life politically, what happens in your life socially, what happens in your life in finance and every other area where we're suffering, where we're in last place. Those are the things that we need to be thinking about. How are we building businesses in the black community so that we can control our own destiny? How are we funding programs that ensure our children are educated and socialized properly? How are we doing with helping people who are struggling with mental health issues, dealing with the mental health crisis? I've talked about that to no avail of what's going on. I am being bombarded with people who are struggling with different forms of mental illness, from everything from trauma to depression, bipolar depression, and everything else in between. And we want to pretend it doesn't happen. We've got so many of our young men killing themselves, so many of our young women killing themselves, and our baby girls are killing themselves, to the point that young girls from the ages of 5-13, or young black girls from ages 5-13, are in the #1 spot in suicide. Yeah, blacks now lead a suicide category. It's because we're not taking things seriously. We're not being active. We're not engaging. We're not trying to understand what's going on. We're not trying to take what we do know and come up with viable solutions of how to overcome it. We can get upset about Brett Favre doing what Brett Favre did with some trashy shit, but hey, that's white people and white people's affair. The vast majority of the poverty stripping, even though it's a lot of poor blacks in Mississippi, it's a whole lot more poor whites, and they're all gonna be impacted. $1 million is not, in the grand scheme of things, going to have a major effect, but it's just the dirty, sly, slouchy bull crap that you have to be to do some crap like that. But anyway, Ron Sarver is selling the Suns, but Biden is still sitting in office, and they are now positioning themselves in midterm, trying to finagle a way to get as many more. Now, here's the thing. I want you to think about this, and then I'm done, because I could talk about this all day. We control the House. I'm saying we. Got me talking like that shit. The Dems control the House, the Senate, and the White House, the Oval Office. So tell me why they can't do whatever they need to do for us. Where's the reparations? Where's all this? Every time we talk about reparations, some Dem comes up and starts talking about some shit about putting together a panel or someone to study it. You didn't have to study it all those other times that everybody else got what they should have got because of the wrong that was done against them. But all of a sudden, there needs to be a study. The most atrocious act against the people in modern history, and that needs to be a study. Run me my damn money. That is like, and the thing is, it's gonna work. Come election day, next month after next, gonna roll right out there and vote Democrat straight ticket, aren't you? We're gonna have to do better. we're definitely going to have to do better. Look, I'm about to get up out of here. I am definitely need to unwind now. I got wired up. We are going to have to do better. On that note, I'm out. Don't forget, go to the description box, click the link, and show some love. Support the work we're doing in the Odyssey Project. The work we're doing is definitely not free. It costs, and we need your support. On that note, I'm out of here. You guys have an unbelievable